Ruben Amorim is starting to truly see where the limits of Manchester United fans lie, and especially at Old Trafford. The boos were loud after the 1-1 draw against West Ham, and I'll tell you exactly why. It's not because of one draw, it's not because of one game of football. Hell, it's not even just because of the last 5 games. Let me explain this, please. I've really tried to sort of piece together what's going on in my head before recording this video, and I want to speak about what I would say are 3 distinct patterns I'm seeing this season, and why it's reached this point. Unsustainable, is that the right word to describe it? I don't quite know. You can let me know what you think in the comments. But I want to run through it because, I'll be honest, like, frustrations are sort of reaching a boiling point. You can hear that in Old Trafford. Like, I remember, you want to go all the way back to Moyes, you want to go all the shit that we've seen over these last few years. Like, it takes a lot to get Old Trafford to boo. It really, really does. In terms of the positive patterns we've seen this season, and there have been some, and I want to speak about it. I think it's important to take all of this into context before I lead into my final point. United have shown resilience in games where they otherwise wouldn't have last season. Conceding late against Liverpool and getting the winner, we wouldn't have done that last season. Going 1-0 down at Crystal Palace and turning that into a win, we wouldn't have done that last season. Getting a late equaliser and nearly getting the winner against Forest after conceding 2. We wouldn't have done that last season. And scoring late against Spurs to get a point. We wouldn't have done that last season. However, I can then go back into those games and pull out a different pattern. And these are the patterns which are emerging even more now. Manchester United leading against Nottingham Forest and not turning that into a victory. Manchester United leading against Tottenham Hotspur and not turning that into a victory. Manchester United leading against West Ham and not turning that into a victory. And I can go into the West Ham game, and that's where I can extrapolate a different pattern. And it goes back to what we saw against Everton. Manchester United being given an opportunity to take a step up, to ignore the rabble going on below us and to step into a different space and allow scrutiny to go somewhere else. Missed opportunity. Manchester United against West Ham. United given an opportunity to take a step up into the top 4. Ignore the rabble. Let all the conversation go out. No. Failed opportunity again. And that's where we're at right now. And they're the 3 patterns I'd say we'd seen this season. An improvement or resilience in certain games to turn situations last season where we probably would have crumbled. And that's a compliment, and I will praise that. But that's kind of as far as it goes, because those 2 other patterns are the ones that are killing me, right? Number 1, Manchester United not taking advantage of opportunities given by other teams. But just the scariest pattern is how United still can't see out games. And I've spoken about this table before, but it's just so stark, and it really is the visual representation of all the problems that are happening right now. Premier League table, just half-time. First halves, United in the top 4. A great result. But Manchester United, in the second halves of football, in the Premier League this season, we scroll down. We keep scrolling. We keep scrolling. We keep going down there because Manchester United are 18th. Man United have only won 1 second half of football this season. Only Wolves have won less than that. Even Leeds have won more than that. 1 game where we've beaten the opposition in the second half. What was it, 8 times we've drawn, and we've been leading at half-time. So I suppose we've seen those games out. But this is where the starkness of those subs last night. I'll be honest, I don't know whether it's because I've been overlooking them. I don't know. Maybe I haven't put enough attention on them. But yesterday, it was the Ugarte sub which really stood out to me, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because when that sub happened, I honestly wasn't too angry. I didn't blow my lid that Mainu didn't come on. Ugarte came on. Ugarte, Casemiro and Bruno going forward. But this is where I think Ruben Amorim's just making a mistake and is naive, right? The reason he's put Ugarte on there is because he's backing United to see the game out. He's backing United to keep a clean sheet. A Manchester United team who, under Senny Lamons, let's scroll down, let's keep scrolling, let's keep scrolling, let's keep going, has got 1 clean sheet, and that was in his debut against Sunderland. But in that game against West Ham, Ruben Amorim backed United to see out the last 20 minutes of the game, despite the fact that United so far this season, in the current setup and how we're approaching the ends of games and second halves of games, there is so much evidence that continues to mount that we cannot do it. And when it comes to the boos at Old Trafford last night, there's something I want to say, I've got a photo of Mourinho and Fergie here because, as I said, I think it takes a lot to get Old Trafford to boo. You might say that I'm lying, but I remember all the rough times that we had for years and years and years, and even then we would support managers right to the very end and support players right to the very end. When it comes to how United are approaching these games of football and how United are seeing, and that's why that Ugarte and Mainu contrast is pissing United fans off. When Fergie retired and Mourinho was lined up as a potential replacement, there was not 1% of me that wanted Mourinho in because I didn't want someone to come into the club whose mentality and approach would be to be in games and situations where you've got a 1-goal lead and you close up shop. And Mourinho was a genius at it, by the way. He was the best at it. That's what made Chelsea so indomitable at that time when it was Fergie and Mourinho going head to head. But that's just not United. And that's what I mean about United fans' patience and why the boos are ringing out at Old Trafford. I don't think there will ever become a time where Manchester United fans will love to watch a Manchester United team whose premise and whose default is to try and see out a 1-goal lead. That we're talking about identities. I think that's quite a fundamental part of our club's identity. It's not that we're going to score 7 goals every game. Not that at all. But United aren't comfortable. And this is the kind of ironic thing about the fact that we are playing a system which drops into a back five quite a lot of the times, and we are making defensive substitutes. We've only got 1 clean sheet this season. We're 18th as far as second halves of the season, the games go this season. The approach in second halves is broken right now. And that has to change for Ruben Amorim. It's naive of him to think that United can see out the last 20 minutes of a game, even if it's against West Ham, even if it's away to Wolves. Now, we can do it in certain games. And this is the thing. We are a mid-table team right now. Boom, it'll work in one game. The next game, boom, it's going to go disappear. Next game, boom, it's come back. And then boom, it's gone again. But United cannot sustainably see out games of football. And the Old Trafford crowd, I don't think will ever accept that approach. It's just not Man United. And that's why the boos were there. That's why I think so many of us are frustrated with what we're seeing and how we're approaching the second halves of football this season. Maybe Ruben's got to switch that. That is it cowardly? Partly I would call it cowardly. Partly it's reflective of a United that doesn't really have enough quality going forward right now. But I tell you where we definitely don't have enough quality. Defensively. So in the second half of games, can we please switch it up? Can we please switch the approach? Because it's not working right now. Got so much evidence of it. And it's contributing to the garbage that we're seeing when it comes to throwing away winning positions and not putting teams to the sword that we should.